Kakabuk sayar banthia ki archaka ki jong pimenta ka kinti wan chaka frang Yamaha but yoru ki cashback hado saujar tingka baga jinga eiru ki helmet habat thia ki Yamaha scooter pin yoru ka discount ka bahadu nyaw jar tingka habat thia ki bag FC but FZS but ru ka down payment ka bakhala jar tingka phone ki number harum Jyllang ka kinhun menteri menta ka sngi ka Mang arlak nagabenda ban Pyntreikam yak an Shongwai ne ka Meghalaya Resident Safety and Security Act Mrssa yak ne ka arlak tingka onbu haki Deputy Commissioner bakin petngor haba Pyntreikam yak Mrssa nagabenda ban yarap yak dor barsnong haba kren halor ki rai ka kinhun menteri menta ka sngi ka menteri ka Sorkar jylla ka kong amprin lingdo ka loong ba onomla ban Pyntreikam yak ne ka an klem ka jingmang pisa na maraba kindon ki task force haman ki district kalau ang ba ka jing Pyntreikam kan sedang nok loy kat bala ha ka ba ka ne ka an kindon bentalang ki dor barsnong.
We just completed a cabinet today and I've been authorized to address the press. 2 items were taken up. One item was the operationalization of the Mrssa. A scheme had to be instituted by the government wherein we will make the entire Mrssa procedure functional. So this scheme entails the provision under finance for DCs to avail budgetary allocations so that work and monitoring of the Mrssa begins at the earliest. So that was done and it was decided that we will have a revolving fund of a minimum of 2 lakhs per district. In districts where there would be a requirement for a bigger budget because of bigger numbers of authorities like the darbars and others who are anyways entailed to help with the monitoring of visitors. So that is the first item that was taken up. There is no question of enhancement of budget. This is the first time that we are instituting a scheme.
Okay.
You cannot have monitoring of the Mrssa if there is no scheme in place. Hence, government has corrected this. We've allotted a new scheme under the Mrssa Act. We have the task force in every district. It's called the district task force, and in these task force, some managerial budgetary provisions will be made because obviously it will be difficult for all of the task force, especially those located along the highways, to operationalize themselves. Simply an anticipated scenario. We as a government would not like to comment on anticipated scenarios of another state. We will face these problems. We will take a decision when these problems come to us. Right now, it would be futile for us to imagine that such a scenario will also happen.
But
Mrssa has its own guideline, which does not affect citizenship, if I am correct. So why are we confusing the two? We have already been given certain mandated observations by the Supreme Court also on this matter, and hence we have taken cognizance of all the advisories given to the state. Hence, you see the Mrssa that is now being proposed and enacted is enacted after consideration of all of those observations per district. It gives power to the district task force to avail a scheme from the government of Meghalaya from 2 lakhs onward, depending on the demand and requirement of a particular district. Not all districts will require